Hello, everyone. This is Gilgamesh. And today we're going to be looking at Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 1. Now, this is a very special verse because this is often considered to be one of the oldest parts of the Hebrew Bible. And it says here, Ha'azinu hashemayim va'adabara v'tishma ha'aretz imre fi. In translation, this is, give ear, the heavens, and I shall speak. Listen, the earth, to the words of my mouth. So let's take this one apart. This first word right here is a imperative he feel. We know it's a he feel because of the yod, which we have here between the second and third letters of the root. The root here is azan, which comes from the same root letters as the word for ear. And so this is a verb that means to listen. And in translation, we often do something poetic to link it to the word for ear, like give ear. It would be a way that we might say this in English, to try and reflect the idea that this verb here is actually from the same root as the word for ear. And so we have this imperative here. It is a masculine plural imperative. So it is addressing more than one masculine objects. And of course, the noun of address is right here, hashemayim, the heavens. The heavens, or the sky, is always a masculine plural in Hebrew. And so this is addressing the heavens here and telling the heavens to listen or give ear. That's an important concept here because generally the heavens are not personified in this way. But here specifically, Moses is personifying the heavens and telling them to listen. And we have this footnote A here, which is from our Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia apparatus. And you can see it links over here to this note, which tells us in the BHS code that chapter 32 and following, which is at Stiquitus here, the fancy T's here, the T and the T with the superscript J here indicates the Targums. The first one is just generally the main Targum. And then this one here is the Targum Pseudo-Jonathan, also known as the Jerusalem Targum. And then it has this nice long Latin sentence here, which if you were to pop that over in Google Translate, if you don't know Latin, which mine is rusty, it says basically that the Targums present extra exegesis at this point. And it's true. If you were to go look up the Jerusalem Targum for this, you would see a whole extra paragraph that's added here giving background as to what's happening in this verse. And if you want to read that, you can find it at safaria.org or other sites that have copies of the Targum. The Targum is an Aramaic translation of the Hebrew Bible. The Targum Jerusalem Targum is not that early of a document, we don't believe. We think it was written several centuries after the Common Era. We don't have an exact date on it, and there's some dispute about exactly when it was written, but it appears to be quite a bit later than the Hebrew Bible. But it explained that Moses was about to die, and so he's calling upon the heavens and the earth here as things that do not die to witness to his final statement here that we find starting in chapter 32 of Deuteronomy. So we get this extra bit of introductory paragraph to this verse in the Targum. It might be late. It might reflect some earlier textual tradition, but probably not. It's probably a later edition explaining a section of the Hebrew Bible. So that's what footnote A is here. And we see the little double bar here tells us that's the end of footnote A. So we have here this imperative, he feel, give ear, hashemayim. In English, we'd use a "O heavens" or something like that, since this is the noun of direct address here. In Hebrew, they use a definite article, the heavens. So give ear, the heavens, va'adabara. So this is from the root diber, a very common root in Hebrew, meaning to speak. The aleph at the beginning here tells us that this is an imperfect, and it is a first person singular. And so this is I shall speak. This verb here, diber, is almost always in the PL, which is why you have the dagesh in the bet here. And so this is a common thing here. But then why do we have this at the end here, this ending? That's not typical. What this is what we call the cohortative. Uh, and you'll see different grammars defining the cohortative in different ways. Some suggest that it is a indication of certainty. I will certainly speak. Some would say it is a matter of asking permission, and I may speak. We don't really have any grammars from the time of Moses, so modern grammarians get to argue a lot about what the exact meaning of some of these things are. But this is a cohortative here, and that is why there's an ending on this, and it is a PL. So, give ear, O heavens, that I may speak, or and I shall speak. Vatishma. Vatishma here is the verb is shema, which is a very famous verb in Hebrew. It means to hearken or listen to. So it is a parallel to this first verb here. And so this is a common thing in Hebrew when you wish to speak in poetry, is you speak in parallels, where first you make a statement and then you make another statement with close synonyms to the original statement. So this verb here, shema, is parallel to azan up here. And this one is more the common verb that means to listen or hearken. It has a sense of obedience to it more than just hearing on this one. This one up here is related to the word for ear and has more the idea of listening or hearing. But they're obviously meant to be parallel here. This form could either mean she will listen or you will listen. They are the exact same form, the feminine third person singular and the second person singular for the call here. And actually here, it's kind of interesting. They parse this verb as being a third feminine singular. If you look at the bottom of the screen there where I do the mouse over on it, I don't think that's right. The way that would be the earth shall listen. But yeah, that's translating the earth here as the subject of this. I don't know that that's quite right. I think that because this one's an imperative up here, that this one would make more sense as a second person. You listen, O earth. And so I think that would make the parallel tighter on this. And so I think this is really actually supposed to be a second person here. But you could translate it as a third person. It works either way. It doesn't really change the meaning of anything here. But I believe that we are addressing the earth the same way we're addressing the heavens up here as a parallel. So these two words are parallel to each other. They're both definite, as you see here. So this is listen, O earth. And then what are you supposed to listen to? You're supposed to listen to imre fi, which is parallel to this, and I shall speak up here. We have this, which we could translate as words of my mouth. So this is not the typical word for words here. This obviously comes from the root amar, which is the verb that means to say. But here it is a noun. It is not only a noun, it is a masculine plural noun. And if we look it up in Hallett's lexicon here, you can see that we only have a conjectural form for the singular because this noun never shows up in the singular, at least not as a masculine way. It does show up as a feminine noun because there's actually a feminine version of this noun as well. But this one never shows up as a singular masculine. So we just have a conjectural form here of emer. And we can see here that this, because it comes from the verb to say, as a noun, it would mean things that are said, sayings or words. And it is here in a masculine plural construct, which is why we have the tseri yod ending on this. So imre, sayings of or words of. And then this final word here is mouth, my mouth. And the word for mouth is actually pe, which is the letter pe and then the letter he. But when you put that in construct state, it changes to pe yod, like you see right here, and pe yod, p, is the construct state. When you add a pronominal suffix to a word like that, you put it in the construct state, and for the first person common suffix is a yod. The two yods kind of combine, and so you just have here the word p for my mouth. Now, we note that we have the footnote B here. And if we look up here, these three little loop-de-loops, great little symbol here, three little loop-de-loops, is the Samaritan Pentateuch. And so the Samaritan Pentateuch actually spells this word with two yods. And so there is a little bit different textual tradition there. They're just alternate spellings for the exact same word here. And when they just didn't combine the yods, when they added the yod as the first person pronoun on the end. And so they have it as two yods. But yes, here, Imre P, words of my mouth. And so yes, this nice little parallel here with this word here for give ear, parallel to this word here to listen, the heavens, parallel to the earth, and I shall speak, parallel to the words of my mouth here. So a nice little tight parallel in Hebrew. And that's our verse for today. If you found this interesting, please like and subscribe and join us on Discord. Thank you very much.